And all good things must come to an end. What's good, everybody? Welcome to Peaches and Power Bombs. I am Alora
Mhm.
Presley. On my other side is Majestic Marie. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. I got sinus issues number 3 going on within
Oh
about 5
no.
weeks because of this lovely weather that we have in Georgia
Oh, the
that just keeps.
schizo weather. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it causes the sinuses to go crazy. It's always fun.
All right. Yeah, I just
But we'll
got
get
through
through it.
that stuff myself and I felt like it was never going to end. HBT from the Straight Up Wrestling Show. Go check them out. They are on Facebook and other platforms as well. Good to see you. I caught some of their shows. I'm so used to Sunday. It's Saturday now.
You know, those guys are troopers. I think they go live over there like every night.
Oof.
And I'm like, "Honey, I gotta sleep."
I
They
know.
they are really good at staying on top of content and everything, so if you're like, "Them girls over there at Peaches and Power Bombs, they only do, like, a biweekly thing." If you're looking for an everyday channel that goes live constantly, go over to Straight Up Wrestling Show. Those guys are awesome, and I've collaborated with them, a couple weeks ago for a SmackDown, and it was a whole lot of fun. We had a good time. We'll have to
Good,
have them
good.
on all together at some point too.
Oh
So
yeah, that's definitely gonna happen in the future for sure. But yeah, give those guys a like and a follow and share. They're very entertaining. But yes, Saturday I caught some of their show Saturday, interacted with them a little bit, and whew, Saturday from start to finish, whew, pretty fun.
yeah, yeah. This was the biggest in-house revenue of the Royal Rumble ever for WWE. I think they had over what 50 was it 50,000 people?
Yeah, I think it was like 51,000 people or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and I think they made like $7 million off of it too. That's
It was a high number at the gate.
yeah. Well,
Sugar Shane is here with us. Glad to see you.
hi Shane.
And anytime HBT, anytime you compliment us to infinity and beyond. I swear. uh, Timothy, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah. So overall, I think there's a lot of positives coming out of this. So let's get down to it. Talk about the Royal Rumble
Okay.
2023, 2023.
Well, for the first time, I think it was the first time that the men's Royal Rumble ever opened the show. Is that right? No, no. Back in 2018, I think they opened the show too, didn't they?
That's just
Because
so weird to me.
the women's Rumble closed the show because it was the first one. So I'm guessing that the men's Rumble opened at
Gotcha.
that time, but I'm not sure. But people were complaining about the men's rumble opening, but I think it was the perfect place for it, especially with what happened at the end, and we'll get into what happened at the end in just a little bit.
Absolutely.
But I think the way that they did the men's rumble, man, okay guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip, okay? When you're watching wrestling, and I know if you've been a wrestling fan for your entire life like we have a tendency of wanting to sit there and break it down and overanalyze it and pick it apart. And that you kind of do yourself a disservice when you do that. Cuz then you're going to just look for the negativity about the match instead of trying to enjoy it as a whole as a fan. And so that's what I tried to do. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to break this match apart like I've been programmed to do. I'm going to just sit back, relax with my 10-year-old nephew, and we're just going to have a good time watching this thing. And that's what we did. And I loved every second of it.
Yeah, same here. We had a full house Saturday. It was me and the mister, his daughter, and my nephew, and it was really fun. Of course, little bit she was kind of like, but of course, me and nephew had that chance to bond and really, really share our thoughts together and stuff, and so yeah, we had a full house. That's why I told HBT and Chris, I said that's why I'm not doing no watch along. I got a full house. It wouldn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, and I was out of town. There are some things that called us out of town, and my brother-in-law was gracious enough to let me come over to his house so I could watch it on a big screen TV.
Yeah.
And it was the first time he had watched a Royal Rumble as it went on since like 1993 or something like that. So that was his first one in a long time. And we had a good time, and the nephews had a good time too.
Good, good.
So, what did you think of this match itself?
I think overall I enjoyed it. I think that I said it here Saturday. Um when you see it coming, you know who the winner is going to be. It's inevitable. You got to make it believable. You just can't half-ass it like they did with Roman. And that was not Roman's fault at all back in 2015.
No.
Everybody knew Cody was coming back. This was his goal from day one, is to go after that championship. And so you have to, from a booking standpoint, you have to have it make sense, because the last thing you want is for fans to turn on Cody.
Right.
And so I think throughout the match, the only thing that I would probably complain about was the fact he was number 30. But with that being said, they made him work for that win.
Oh yeah.
And
I
I'm pretty
think
sure. Go ahead.
I think him and Gunther still wrestled an additional 6 to 7 minutes or whatever when it was just the two
Yes,
of them at the end. So it wasn't like a really quick thing.
exactly.
And for a second there, I thought maybe Gunther might have pulled
You
the
know what?
upset.
I would have been totally okay with that. And let's just say this: Gunther was the Rumble MVP, hands down.
Absolutely.
He started at number one, and he almost lasted the whole time. But I think for those that have slept on him, I bet they woke up after that, because he's been called the ring general, and I mean he proved it. I
He
mean
absolutely proved it.
he constantly made his presence known through the whole match. I mean, he was really, taking it to, the other superstars. And I did like that showdown with Brock. I ain't gonna lie. I was like,
I was a puddle.
man.
I was a puddle at the end of that. I was not gonna lie. I was like, oh my
But yeah,
god.
fact of the matter is that, okay, this is coming to my way. We got to make them get on the edge of their seats. We're going to make Cody work for it. And they did. And I believe after the reaction he got last night on Raw, it worked.
I'm going to be honest. I did not have a problem with Cody coming in at number 30. Was it predictable? Yeah, but predictable is not always bad. And I think it was more practical. You have to
Yeah.
remember that this was his very first match back. And yeah, he's been training and things like that. But you don't want to risk him having another injury right at the first time, because it takes a little bit of time to get that ring rust dusted off a little bit, as they like to say. So I think it was a perfect place for him to be at number 30. He still had to work for it. He was still in there for 15 minutes or so.
Yeah,
So maybe
that's a
maybe a little
valid
less
point.
than that, but you can't expect someone who first coming off of an injury to be in there for 30 minutes.
That's true. That's a very valid point. I'm glad you brought that up because I definitely was not thinking that. But yeah, it was really cool that the number one entrant and the number 30 entrant was the last two.
That's the
That was
first
a
time
really
that's ever happened.
yeah, for sure. Okay. That's enough. You showed off. Now don't do all that.
Yeah, there was a lot of record breaking going on. Gunther lasted the longest ever. I think he
Broke the record.
broke the
Yep.
record for longest, and then number 1 and number 30 being the last two. I don't think that's ever happened before.
I
So,
don't think so either. Now 1 and 2 has happened, but not
yeah,
1 and 30.
right. Yep. And there were I really like uh, this rumble was different than a lot of rumbles in the past, and I know some people were complaining about it. But on the other hand, the fact that they showcased the people that they actually have instead
Yes.
of relying on nostalgia and legends.
Yes.
There was a moment of that with Booker T and Edge and stuff. Edge is kind of there already, but you know what I mean.
Right. You knew Edge. It was a matter of time before he came back to, throw Judgment Day off their game. So
Oh, that was fantastic too. The way he was running after Finn Balor like that, I popped big time. It was funny.
Rhea just thought she was just gonna come in and cause some damage. And Beth Phoenix came out there and speared the crap out of her. I was
I
like,
know. It was a good spot. I enjoyed it.
I did too.
And then Brock coming in and cleaning house. He wasn't in the Rumble long, and he didn't need to be. He did
Yes,
what he
thank
was
you,
supposed to
Jesus.
do. And you have Brock come in there as the big monster right there mid match to kind of clean out some of the underlings a little bit, show his dominance, and then you had Bobby Lashley come in right after him and to do the elimination spot and to continue that story too. So
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And like I mentioned earlier, the whole thing with Gunther, that was just like, oh man, yeah, that's
I
money.
want I want it. I
Like,
want it. Give it to
book it.
me.
uh,
Please.
Timothy said the number was 51,328 people. Yes, it was in the San Antonio area. He says downtown was packed Thursday through Sunday. I bet.
I
It
believe
was,
it.
yeah, WrestleMania is the same way. WrestleMania is just insane. So yeah, I could see this with the Rumble too. Shane, I have a problem with WWE. Why are they treating The Miz like AEW was doing with Eddie Kingston? Really, WWE, Rick Boogs. The Miz belongs in the main event.
Um, I think the Miz is serving a purpose right now. I don't. On one hand, he's being that weasel heel, so it is a
Yeah,
little different than with Eddie.
I
Eddie
think
is a different dynamic. Like he's supposed to be this rough around the edges. I fight who steps up to me. And the Miz is a weasel heel. I'm scared. I'm gonna say a bunch of crap, but when it comes to it, I'm gonna run away. That type of thing.
and the Miz too.
And I'm
What
not trying
about
to discard what the Miz is doing because he's
yeah?
fantastic. I love the Miz.
I agree. He's definitely serving a purpose. And he's been with them for a long time. Both him and Eddie are veterans. I I don't want to say anything that takes away from Eddie because we love Eddie Kingston here at Peaches and Power Bombs. But I think yeah, the Miz is definitely serving a purpose, and I feel like between the whole thing with Johnny Gargano, Dexter Loomis, you got all that going on. So I think that's going to pay off at some point.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's silly. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, people, no disrespect to Rick Boogs, but people love him. So I mean, I'm glad he came back because he had a nasty injury. Nasty.
Yeah. I was happy to see him on. When was it?
I can't lie, he's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, he is. Was it Monday?
Yeah, he came back last night.
Yeah. Yeah. But overall, the Rumble was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And I think the right person won.
Yeah. When they were doing the pre-show and they had a backstage segment with the Bloodline and Roman told Sammy he was with him all night, I was like, good. That explains the reason why Sammy wasn't in the Rumble, because I know a lot of us wanted Sammy in the Rumble to create that dynamic. But little did we know we had something much, much more dramatic and spellbinding coming. So I feel like from that perspective, they did right on that too, because, if he threw, and now that you think about it, if you threw Sammy in the Rumble, that's another thing that could have, sabotaged Cody's win. So
Yep.
And I do want to say this right quick. Cody's promo last night was amazing.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'll just say this, no spoilers. I said it. He brought it up last night. The one thing that I was talking about when it came to him and Roman, wrestling has more than one royal family. He brought that up last night, and I looked at the mister and I was like, I said it. I said it.
Yep.
I said it. So, but it was really good. So when you can, check it out.
Oh, I definitely will.
Yeah. So, so anyways, Shane, we'll get to that here shortly. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. So, but yeah, I agree. Right person won.
Absolutely.
It was a good hot start to the show too.
Right. It got me excited for the night.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, something that kind of drug it down just a little bit, and I'm trying not to complain too much, but we had the Pitch Black match with Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight. Bray Wyatt beats LA Knight in about 4 minutes and some odd seconds. Uncle Howdy makes an appearance, tries to jump on LA Knight, but he kind of misses and it looks weird. This did not do it for me. I will give them kudos over trying to do something different, but it did not appeal to me, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm just glad it wasn't a complete squash. LA Knight did have a couple good offense moves. One moment here. We do have a guest that's joining us. He's finally made it in. Dr. Bradley Campbell, how you doing?
I'm here. Just finally made it home. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I ended up putting some headphones on. Seems kind of quiet, so give me just a second.
All right, no problem.
All right, no problem.
All right.
What kind of comments do we have?
HBT says definitely a great promo, and that mic work is going to take him far. Plus, he knows how to work in the ring. Yeah, Cody has worked incredulously hard, and I love that it's paying off for him in the best way possible.
Absolutely.
We're going to give Dr. Brad just a second here to get situated.
Okay, okay, I think he's got his earphones in now. Maybe. I was going to take them off and then put them back on when he's situated.
Can you hear us?
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear you a little bit better. It's coming in a little quiet, but
Uh-oh.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Let me see something here.
Okay.
You guys hear me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
Okay.
There we go. I think we're good to go now.
All
All
right.
right.
That's right. How about now?
I can hear you still.
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, I don't even need the headphones. I got it going now.
All
Okay, we're
right.
good. We're good.
We just got through talking about the men's Royal Rumble. That's pretty much we were into the pitch black match, but you want to offer your thoughts on the Royal Rumble, the men's winner, anything about that?
Yeah, I've talked about the Rumble with so many different people right now. So, I guess to kind of reiterate, I personally thought the men's Rumble was the best match of the night. I thought it did what it needed to. I thought that the wrestling was great. There was a lot of great high spots. When you look at the roster and you look at who was in the Rumble, you cannot argue with who was there. Everyone that was in there deserved to be there. I know that there wasn't really a lot of surprises, but I mean, still, you could have made it a 40-man Rumble like they did several years ago. It was Cody's time. I would like to have seen him at an earlier spot, but great performance nonetheless. I said when he debuted at WrestleMania last year, he needs to win the Rumble in 2023 and dethrone Roman. I have said it for nearly a year now, and WWE followed up with that. It's what should have happened, and the pitch black match. Was not sure how I was going to feel about it, but they delivered, and it was a great match. It was entertaining. Got some old school Taker vibes from Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
Bray shows he's no slouch in the ring. LA Knight is amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I think LA Knight got some of what we were saying as you were coming on. I feel like LA Knight, it wasn't a total squash. So I'm glad
Yeah.
he got some offense in. I know it was more of a promotional type of match. I'm hoping there's a better payoff to the story, and I don't think it's over just yet. But LA Knight's doing an amazing job. The Mister and I actually do the thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
There's rumors that go around that a lot of people don't want to work with Bray Wyatt because it's really hard to go up against a character like that, but I think it just shows how much talent that LA Knight has, that he's been able to shine despite this over the top, larger than life character that Bray Wyatt has, and he's been able to be right there up with him and being able to keep up with him. So that just shows how much that he has to offer.
And I can appreciate too that they didn't throw Bray in with a top tier superstar. Let him work with people like LA Knight, and I think slow but steady is the case with Bray, because he's such a phenomenal talent. He's got a very creative mind, so there's that.
A little too creative sometimes, but if you're going to have too much of something, creativity is
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite match, I'm going to be honest, but I appreciate them trying to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, and I mean, it could be a whole lot worse. We have seen a whole lot worse too.
oh
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shane asked if we had saw Jay Briscoe's funeral. It's on YouTube. Mark did a fantastic job. He is talking about the eulogy that he did. I did not see it. I'm not ready to see it. I might check out the eulogy down the road. So, did anybody else get a chance to catch that?
I did not.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I know it's up. But I wasn't ready to listen just yet. So
Yeah.
So okay.
We're moving on to our next match of the night. Speaking of magic and Uncle Howdy and all the mind games and stuff, that continued on to the next match. We had the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss. Bianca had a good showing. Actually, both women had a good showing during this match. It wasn't that bad. I think it served its purpose. And then there at the end, they had that little video package with Alexa Bliss kind of questioning, is she actually in control or not? So continuing on with that.
Really strong shot.
You got a TV on in the background?
Me? My
Yeah.
wife's watching TV. I'm gonna back up. I was just checking on, see if she needed anything. So
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah, it's been a crazy day for me. But okay, going on to the Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair. Bianca is one of the best wrestlers in WWE. She's been a great champion. I thought they had a great story leading up to this, but they deserved more than what they got. I just kind of felt like it ended way too abruptly. It wasn't fair to the talent that we had. The aftermath of the match, of seeing Alexa's past coming up, the history of Bray Wyatt, that was cool.
Mhm.
And that has me interested in what they're going to do with the Alexa Bliss character, because she's a great heel.
yeah.
I like her much better as a heel than a babyface, and I'll tell you, she's got a mean streak when she starts bringing out the creepy side, so to say.
She does it so well too that
Yeah.
I think fans really latched onto that the first time around. I think this was more of a thing for Alexa versus Bianca. Now that Rhea Ripley has chose Charlotte for her match at WrestleMania, which we will talk about, I'm thinking maybe Bayley challenges Bianca Belair, but she's got the thing going on with Becky right now, so like it's really hard to. It could. I mean, Asuka got that dark side going on again. She debuted that. We'll talk about that too. So there's so much going on.
Yeah. I think this was just a way of getting one of the women's titles on the show at somewhere, but also furthering story and what people are interested in. I think the Alexa Bliss story is a little bit more interesting than, say, like the Charlotte Flair and the Sonya Deville and all that kind of stuff, which is we've seen a ton of that lately. So I'm glad they went with this instead. And I have a feeling that they had planned more for this match, but because of how long the Royal Rumble matches were taking, I think it probably got cut short, and that's why it looks so abrupt.
That's fair.
Because what they said, Gunther was in there for 72 minutes or something like that. So that's quite a bit.
Gunther's the MVP of the Rumble. I just want to throw that out there.
We said that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
HBT. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
HBT, I like the Belair Bliss match. I was thinking Alexa will win the title, but it's probably more intriguing with the I'm guessing you mean the other being a champion. Yeah, Alexa, it's more of a character build up for Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss, to me, I've always liked her style. She has really good ring awareness. Now now that she's hopefully 100% healthy, we might get to see a little bit more of that now. Because on and off she was dealing with a lot and whatnot, um, but yeah, that's my next question now is okay, where's Alexa Bliss headed? Obviously, she's dealing with Bray Wyatt, and then who's going to challenge Bianca? I think it could be Bayley, but I they might throw a swerve on us.
I got a possible answer for that. You could go. You could do lazy booking. We'll just throw it out there. And since you got Becky and Bayley feuding, you make a triple threat: Becky and Bayley challenging Bianca. So you got that option. Something that was discussed on another podcast I was on was, and they don't have a lot of time to do it, but it's just a thought. Roxanne Perez, she's ready for the main roster.
Oh man,
you got time to get her out of NXT on the roster in time for a WrestleMania match against Bianca Belair. I mean, it'd be a lot to do from a storyline standpoint, but from a pure talent standpoint, she could go.
Oh yeah, she is very, very good. I mean, you could just look at her and tell she's a star. And she did fair in the Royal Rumble too.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, we're going to move right into the Women's Royal Rumble. And our winner did in fact come in as number 1, the first woman to actually do that in their prospective Rumble matches, Rhea Ripley. Overall, I was surprised to see, because a lot of people always say, how in the world can they have a Women's Royal Rumble when they don't have that many women? And this just proved that they do have a lot of women, because Michelle McCool was like the only legend that they actually used during the whole thing. They used quite a few people from NXT, but even that was limited. They have a lot of talent that people don't realize. And with both the men's and the women's, I really appreciated the fact that they used the people that they have and use them to build the storyline of the Rumble and their maybe prospective WrestleMania matches going forward. They didn't have to use a lot of the outside nostalgia surprise factor for these Rumble matches, and I really liked that.
I agree. And the main focus in the Women's Royal Rumble was the damage control taking over a vast majority of that match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were the Brock Lesnar of the Women's Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
They were sent out there to clean house.
Yeah, but yeah, I think the eliminations were very well done in that case. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, like the men's Rumble, it was predictable in terms of who won, but you can't say the person's not deserving. I mean, Rhea Ripley has been a star this entire year, and seeing what she's done, alongside Finn Balor and company. I mean, she's the best she's ever been.
Yeah. I agree with that.
You just can't you can't argue with what she's done. And she's just her look too. She just has she stands out from the rest of the women's roster in terms of like her physique and her style and how she presents herself. She's just very unique. And I think that she's got great physicality to her as well. I mean, she's got a great build. Like when you look at her, like she looks buff. Like she can take out the majority of the women's roster with ease.
Yeah.
So.
Right. The one thing I'll bring up too, and this is the same thing with Gunther as well. I like the fact that they didn't focus on her 100% because there was so many other things going on, but you could still see that, she was, doing her own thing. And and not to mention, she interfered in the men's rumble earlier and took that vicious spear from Beth Phoenix, and she was still able to go in at number 1 and win.
And it's
So,
believable that happened too.
yeah.
I mean, if that was if that was somebody like, I don't know, Xia Li or something, no one, we would be like, but it's Rhea Ripley and she's a beast, so
she's a tough little cookie.
Yeah. We were like, okay.
Yeah, and even though, like, I figured there would be some sort of match of Judgment Day versus Edge, Beth Phoenix, Rey Mysterio, maybe, I don't see that happening now. And I thought about it after the fact. I was like, of course, Rhea Ripley won the Rumble. That's not going to make sense. She did cut a promo on Raw. She's choosing Charlotte Flair. I liked her reasoning behind it because she said Charlotte put her in her place. And she's like, basically the gist of the promos, she's badder and better, and she's like, I'm going to put you in your place. And I said, this is going to be good because they had a good match in the Performance Center. Unfortunately, Performance Center, but because of COVID, but, this is going to be a sellout crowd this time. So I think the crowd's really going to eat this one up.
I honestly would have rather her challenge Bianca and we get that match on a bigger stage and then have Charlotte versus Asuka, but this is the real life, children, and we can't always get what we want. So it's okay. Enjoy what you get. Pat, pat, pat. But
the only thing I will say is I think from a pure wrestling standpoint, Charlotte Flair is considered one of the best female wrestlers in the world right now. I mean, she is that good. I mean, she's Ric Flair's daughter. She's got that in her. And I think that she needs a legitimate opponent that looks like they could take her down. Rhea's it.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. It's just not so clear for Bianca now. I was like, okay, where do we go with her? So
with as good as Bianca is too, and with as much as she's done, I could see Charlotte dropping the title at Mania. I think she's had so many reigns already.
Oh, yeah.
I could see, depending who they get, I could see Bianca retaining and her title reign continuing. And let's be honest. Let's be honest here. The men have had an opportunity to have long title reigns. CM Punk had 434 days. Brock Lesnar had a long title reign. Now they're giving Roman Reigns like over 800 days, or I don't remember the exact number of days. The women deserve to have a champion who are not only a fighting champion, but of someone that have had a long reign. Why not give it to Bianca? She's more than deserving of it.
I think it was like this was during the Divas. Well, no, I take that back. Bayley had a 300+ day reign as SmackDown Women's Champion a couple years back.
She did.
And and who's to say you can't? Well, Becky had the Raw Women's title for X amount of days until she got pregnant as well. So yeah, it's kind of like, I think in that case with Bianca, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, who could challenge Bianca? Asuka came out with a dark side at the Royal Rumble. I think Asuka could be a formidable opponent, given the slight character change. Perhaps she freaked Carmella out. That I know.
Yeah.
She freaked me out a little bit too. I saw that clip.
Yeah, that was kind of gnarly. Let's see. Shane says people don't want it, but Nia Jax was there. Yeah, that was quite a surprise because she was throwing WWE a lot of shade a year ago, but what a difference a year makes, right?
Money talks.
That too, and every lot of things have changed too. So, HBT Roxanne is very polished. She is ready for the upper level, but I think she needs to run the table in NXT first. Yeah, you definitely don't want to bring her up too soon, but I think if they put her on Raw or SmackDown, like next week, she'd be fine. That's just me. Shane, if I am not mistaken, all Charlotte Flair has to do is lose the title and then get it back as she ties her father's record. Oh, Jesus.
It's going to happen.
I know.
It's going to happen.
I know.
It's coming. It's coming for you, Alora.
No. Yeah. I mean, at least she can work. It could be worse.
I know you acknowledge the tribal chief, but you're going to have to acknowledge the queen, too.
I don't have to do that. So, but yeah, Rhea was the choice. And now, I just have questions as far as, how are they going to do with Becky and Bayley? Are they going to end it on Raw next week in a steel cage match? And then somebody goes faces Bianca, somebody goes and does something else. There's just so much questions with that, It could go a variety of different ways.
I will have to say this. At least there's a lot of different storylines for the women. It's not just one.
Yeah.
Like we have Charlotte and Sonya, and then Rhea's gonna be with that. But you also have Rhea doing something with Beth Phoenix as well. And then you have Bayley and Becky over here, and Bianca, Alexa Bliss. And then you also have this Carmella Asuka thing starting to stir up. There's a whole lot of different things going on with the women.
We even have a Karen on the Raw roster now. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah.
It's Chelsea Green, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Yep. So
oh boy.
It's gonna be there's a lot of happenings, and that's great for the women's division. I love it.
Yeah.
Might not be perfect, but I love it.
All right. If that's it on that, we'll talk about what all the children are gathered here to talk about. Universal Championship with Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline and Paul Heyman and all of that mess going on.
We'll let Dr. Brad go first and offer his thoughts.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you letting me do that, and I will have to say this first. I do apologize, but it's been a rough night. I've got to get off here after I give my thoughts.
Okay.
Apparently the puppy is summoning me. Next time I will be sure I do not work when I come on here.
Oh yeah, definitely. You just
no problem.
Hash out details and stuff. It was kind of a last minute thing, and I was like, you know what? We need to get you on, even if it's just for a few minutes.
I know. And the thing is, I told my wife, I said, and I just started a new store with my job, being that pharmacist James Bond, licensed to fill, that's what I do. But I love my wrestling, and I love being able to make new friends and talk with different people. By the way, I know you, Sarah. What's your name?
I'm Marie.
Marie, good to meet you.
Nice
I'm Brad.
To meet you too.
Call me the Doc. So real quick before I get off here, the main event, it did what it needed to. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns had a solid match. Kevin Owens is one of the best workers in WWE. Again, predictability. We knew Roman was going to win. However, the aftermath is some of the best storytelling we have had from WWE in years. You can go as far as say this is probably the best moment WWE has had on a pay-per-view in probably the last 4 or 5 years. It was that good. And the payoff, I mean, we were all speculating, is Sammy going to turn? Is there going to be a rift? Some were clamoring for it to happen. It happened it's perfect timing. It's going into WrestleMania season. There are so many different things you can do with this. There's been a lot of talk. Could you have the Usos defending against Sammy and KO at WrestleMania with the tag titles? It was beautiful. The fans chanting "F you, Roman." The heat was where it needed to be. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll let you go and do your thing. I'm glad you came on for a little bit to talk to us.
yeah. Again, it's always an honor. I always try to keep my commitment to those who invite me on their show because I love pro wrestling, and it's a great community. So, despite the craziness, I hope to be back one day. Thank you guys so much for having me on tonight.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
He, basically he's echoed what I think about the match overall. With all that going on, you didn't need The Rock, and we talked about that before, even though I would have loved to see The Rock. This was definitely storytelling at its finest. I 100% agree with Brad.
I don't know if I've been emotionally invested in people, right? With, Eddie Kingston and everything.
Right.
But I don't think I've been totally submerged into the story itself. Like, oh no, what's going to happen type of thing.
Right.
And I don't know how long. I don't know if I've been like that, like this, in our adult, our adult life.
No, I get it. I remember back in the 90s, before dirt sheets and all that.
Yeah.
Raw was the show to watch.
Yeah.
I remember, and so many other people remember this too. That's why a lot of them reminisce about it. So I remember so many times I could watch Raw and you would be glued to your seat the whole time, and then you're like, I can't wait to see what happens next week. This is what we're getting with the Bloodline.
Absolutely. I put out something on our page on Saturday night saying that, when we were kids, we had Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, and we had the Sting and NWO, and we had Hogan and Macho Man, and kids nowadays have Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn and the Bloodline.
Yes.
That's going to be their bright spot when they look back. So the fact that they have agree. That is beautiful because,
and it highlights so many people. Of course, you got Roman, you got the Usos, a very dominant tag team. You got Solo Sikoa, the new member of the Bloodline, who's already proven his, his spot, his worth. And then you got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, two guys that people wanted to see more from and wanted to see them get their due, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
And so, we're seeing so much stuff being paid off in the spectrum. And like I said before, I cannot be happier for Sami Zayn because Sami deserves this.
Yeah.
Sami, everybody knows what a great worker Sami is, how immensely talented he is. So to see this pay off in a way that it's like Bryan Danielson level, I'm just elated for him. So I just knew when he was like, you don't have to do this. This is beneath you, blah, blah, blah. I said, I know Roman. I know Gemini's. The asshole in him is going to give him the chair and say, you do it. And that's exactly what happened. Oh, gosh. And but this was very well done. I'm glad that they didn't rush this.
Yeah, a lot
Um,
of people were complaining about how long it was, and I'm like, do you have to complain about everything?
right.
Can they
That's what
do
I'm saying.
anything without you
They
whining about it?
listen. They didn't complain when the whole Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa saga in NXT was doing that stuff. You didn't hear no complaints on that.
Yeah.
They're probably complaining because it's Roman. I said it. But, I feel like from start to finish, this was very well done.
And we got to talk about our boy Jey Uso. Give that man an
Oh my
Emmy.
God,
Give
yes!
that man an Emmy. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Him looking, him frozen, not being able to believe what just happened. Because and it's crazy how it started, because he was the one who was
Hated
skeptical
Sammy,
about
yeah.
Sammy. He was like, "You are not part of this family. What do you think you're doing here? I don't trust you." And then he finally embraces Sammy as a brother, as an Uso. And then this happens, and he doesn't know what to do, because on one hand, he loves Sammy. He probably feels betrayed by him, but on the other hand, he might feel a little something something towards Roman as well, because Roman kind of put him through the ringer a couple years ago too. So there's that. And then, Jimmy looking at him going, "What is your problem?" And all that other kind of stuff. And he has no idea what to do. He says, "I'm out." He rolls out of the ring. He's crying on the way out. Oh my gosh.
I know. Even Alex, the whole time, he kept telling me, "This is amazing. This is
Jey.
great. I love it." And yeah, I mean, just storytelling at its finest. This is how you keep fans engaged. I'm 100% engaged in this, and I'm so freaking jealous of you because you get to see the fallout of this Friday.
Yay!
I have to work, so that's why I couldn't
Boo.
go. Boo!
Yep, I will be at SmackDown in Greenville, South Carolina. I think Harry and Chris from Straight Up Wrestling Show will be there,
That'll
as
be
well
cool.
as some other people. So it's going to be very exciting. And Sammy has been posting some interesting stuff on his Instagram. Like, I think he posted him throwing away some of his Uso stuff in the trash and having it out.
No!
Yeah. It is gonna be. I'm like,
I
ooh.
know Jey Uso posted something on his Instagram talking about I'm out.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Let me take y'all back to the 80s. The storyline with Jerry the King Lawler and Eddie Gilbert and Eddie's family going after the King. The heat Roman has reminds me so much of the heat Eddie Gilbert had in Memphis. You know what, Shane? My friend Julian actually told me about these that at one time. So I'm glad you brought that up because, yeah, I mean, that was something I thought about too. Was but back in the 80s and stuff like that, you had stuff like that happen. People were like, I mean, they were in their feelings and then some. Like it was still real to them.
Yeah.
And what Shane is saying, that's a great example because Jerry Lawler and Eddie Gilbert, I remember Julian telling me about that and how how tumultuous that feud was and how stuff, feelings and stuff got involved and everything. So yeah.
If this happened in the 70s and 80s, Roman would have to fear for his life.
Right.
That dude would get attacked.
And I guarantee you, he probably has heard it from his dad and them. Son, if you was back in my day. Shad, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, he'll be at the show as well.
Oh, okay. Good, good. HBT, you have to dig very hard to find a better storyline in the history of wrestling. I've been watching since the 70s, and this breaks the top 10, maybe top 5.
Absolutely.
That's yeah. I mean, just those two comments from y'all alone, that's just like a testament to how well this story is. And they desperately needed it, and it couldn't happen to a better group of people that's been involved in it.
And
sure.
to point out that when it started, it was just like a silly, goofy thing that Sami Zayn was doing, trying to, you know,
Fit in.
I'm gonna be in the bloodline, ha 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 ha, I'm the redheaded stepchild, literally. And and then it grew into this, and now we're just like, oh no, what's gonna happen? Not Sami. Oh, what's Jay gonna do? Is he gonna join Sami? Is he gonna stay with Roman? We don't know. Crying.
I know, right? And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, if it's gonna be the Usos versus Sami and KO at WrestleMania for the tag belts, I'm sitting there like, how is this gonna work?
And it's funny, my mother, who is not a wrestling fan by any means, but Dad had it on, and she's texting me and going, what is Roman doing? What's he doing? It's crazy. It's even got her all riled up.
He's just a tribal chief doing bad tribal chief things.
No, he wasn't feeling very oozy, was he?
That definitely.
Lately, he just hasn't been very oozy.
That's going to be like one of the greatest segments of all time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Well, that was
they
the Royal
replayed it
Rumble.
like 1,000 times on Raw last night, so I know what they're going to come up with Friday is going to be good.
I hope so. I hope they don't give us a bunch of packages too. I'm like, no, give us the stuff. Give us the stuff.
Give me the stuff.
Come on, man. I know you got it underneath that coat of yours. Give it here. On a little bit more serious note, we're going to switch our focus a little bit and talk about the Mark Briscoe Jay Lethal match. Okay.
Let me pull up Shane's comment right quick. Can you imagine the Elimination Chamber with the Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? You know what? I didn't even think about that. That's a great point, Shane. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I wanted to bring that up before I got lost.
Do they have time to do it? Would that, is he saying an Elimination Chamber match, or is he just saying like a traditional Bloodline versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn traditional thing going on? I wasn't sure.
Well, it is in Montreal.
Yeah. Because the Elimination Chamber is going to be interesting because the Elimination Chamber match is going to be for the United States Championship instead of the world title.
That's right.
Obviously, Austin Theory is in that with
Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley. Crap, I watched it earlier, and do you think I can remember? Shane said put them all in the chamber.
I know they announced about 3 people, and then they got 2 more to come. I mean, are they going to throw Brock in there?
I don't know.
Shad,
SmackDown in Greenfield following the aftermath of Rumble is going to be amazingly awesome and interesting. But I have this suspicious feeling that Jay will be helping Roman retain against Sami at the Chamber, and that is very possible.
Yeah, and then that could set up Kevin and Sami going against the Usos for the tag team championships, and that way Roman can go on and focus on
that's what made wrestling so popular back in the day. That was crazy stories that would grab the mom, uncle, cousin that walks by their room and hear the excitement, and they can't turn away. You're right.
Yep. Another thing my mom, real quick about my mom, she fussed about is that Montez Ford didn't get to stay in the Rumble for very long because she loves him. So.
The LOL moment of the night for me was when the Rumble was starting and Gunther was making his entrance, the Mister's daughter looks at me and goes, "If he takes his belt off, his panties are gonna fall off." I was like, "Oh." It reminds me of your niece.
Yep. I can't look at Sheamus the same, and now I'm not going to look at Gunther the same either.
I
Oh my
know,
goodness.
right?
And they were number 1 and number 2, so we had the panty people up in there.
Oh my God. Hold on. Hold on. Let me find it.
I got it. Oh man.
Yeah, Asuka's face paint was reminiscent to her character when she was in Japan. She was known as Kana. She had that little dark side going on, so I think she's bringing that back. That was funny.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh
good
gosh,
stuff.
that was
Fun.
good. What?
Kids, man, kids.
I'm telling you.
They
The
make
stuff
life
they
interesting.
say.
Yes. Okay, moving on, and then we're gonna call it quits. We're gonna just talk about this for a few minutes, because we didn't want to go without acknowledging this match right here. Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal on Dynamite last week. It was the main event, and they flew in all the Ring of Honor people to come in and to ring announce and to commentate, and it was a very special moment. And even if the match was absolutely horrendous, I don't think people would have even cared. But it wasn't horrendous. It was amazing, and I am, I had to rep. And I'm just happy that Mark got that moment, and I just think he is so strong being able to do that.
I agree. Mark Briscoe put his best foot forward, and of course, if nobody saw any of the work him or Jay Lethal done prior to this match, you can instantly tell the amazing chemistry they had. I mean, they told a good story in the ring, and even the Ring of Honor commentators brought up a point. They're like, Jay Briscoe would have wanted this. I was like, oh yeah, that's the wrestler in him, of course.
Absolutely.
And I think it was very well done. It was emotional, and the crowd was into it. It was very special.
It was
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and much props to the both of them, because I know that was not an easy thing to do.
No, absolutely not. And like I said, I thought that took an amazing strength in order to do that, but they did it. It wasn't really for us. It was for Jay, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And
I hate that Warner Media had to. It took like a fan outrage for them to say, "Oh, okay, well, we can do this on the show." They wouldn't have,
it took a death.
Yeah,
Someone
that
losing their
too.
life. It kind of makes me sick a little bit, but Mark didn't do anything. Even if you want to account all of those tweets and sayings and everything that Jay said, that was Jay said those things, not Mark. So it's like, why are you punishing someone who is absolutely innocent?
Right.
But on the other hand, Jay did apologize, so I'm not throwing any shade definitely on Jay Briscoe.
Yeah, it was
I'm just
kind of
sad
one of
that he
those
didn't.
things. Yeah,
He didn't get this moment.
Yeah, I hate that, and it sucks, but Jay Briscoe will live on. He has an amazing body of work that he left behind.
By the way, everybody, all of the Briscoe merchandise, all of the money is going towards his daughter's surgery. So if you have a couple dollars and you want a Jay Briscoe shirt, go to Pro Wrestling Tees and grab one, because all of the money is going towards their medical bills. So
yes, and continued best wishes in their recovery.
absolutely. All right,
So,
what else do we have to say?
nothing too much. Shad says he thinks Liv should have won the Rumble. She would have a good
She had a good little showing in the Rumble.
She really did. She has a good argument if she wanted to challenge Bianca or something, but I don't see it happening. But we'll see. I agree. Lethal was so emotional. I mean, he barely could hold it in, but yeah, Mark was very, very strong. Whenever you all watch the eulogy, you'll see where Mark gets his strength from. He is amazing. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for now. And thank you, Dr. Brad, for joining us. He couldn't join us for the whole thing, but it was a last minute deal. We were glad to have him on. We will have him back on in the future.
All right. And I will be on the Real Wrestling Community tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern to do a review of AEW Dynamite. I will not be on Friday, obviously, because I will be at SmackDown, but I will try to load up videos and pictures and things like that and do like a little vlog sort of thing on our page. So keep a lookout for that, because I think SmackDown's going to be very interesting this week.
I would say electrifying, but that's the wrong term of words to use.
Well, not in that sense, but it will be electrifying in the normal sense, just not in the Rocky type of sense.
Right. Thank you, HBT. And I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Stick around for see what Nia Jax does next.
Yeah, there's some rumors that she might not have signed a deal and that this was just a one-time thing. So we'll see.
All righty. Well, kiddos, y'all be good. Be safe. Don't forget to tell your loved ones that you love them. Tomorrow is not promised. And we hope that Marie.
If you guys see me at SmackDown, don't hesitate. Come and say hi.
Yes, definitely be careful this weekend, Marie, and I hope you have an amazing time. And everybody else is going, I hope y'all have an amazing time too. I'm sorry I couldn't be with y'all, but I'll be there in spirit.
Yep, we'll bring you with us. All right, Peaches, peace out. Bye.
Good night, sweet peach. It's time to go. Good night, sweet